Aliens tried to break a human prisoner. They learned what real fear was. The detention chamber hummed with the low frequency that the Zephyrians believed would gradually erode any sentient being's mental stability. Commander Zethkar observed the human specimen through the reinforced plasma barrier, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the curious creature that had been captured during the failed defense of the Terran colony on Kepler 442b. The human sat cross-legged on the metal floor, eyes closed, breathing in a steady rhythm that defied all their psychological projections. According to the Galactic Council's intelligence reports, humans were supposed to be fragile, emotional creatures that would break within cycles when subjected to proper interrogation techniques. Increase the sonic dissonance by 30%. Zethkar commanded his subordinate. The frequency shifted, causing even the Zephyrian guards to wince behind their protective gear. The human didn't even flinch. Dr. Veltara, the expedition's chief psychologist, consulted her bioscanner with growing confusion. Commander, his stress indicators remain completely stable. In fact, his heart rate has actually decreased since we began the enhanced protocol. Zethkar's mandibles clicked in irritation. 3 standard cycles had passed since they'd captured. Lieutenant Marcus Chen of the Terran Space Marines and their most advanced psychological warfare techniques had yielded nothing. No information about human military capabilities, no breaking point, no surrender. Perhaps we should try the fear simulators, Veltara suggested, her voice carrying the uncertainty that had been growing among the crew. The commander's agreement came with reluctant resignation. The fear simulators were considered the most humane method of extraction in their arsenal, sophisticated holographic projectors that could manifest a subject's deepest terrors based on neurological scans. No species had lasted more than a few moments before begging for mercy. As the devices powered up, scanning the human's brain patterns, Veltara's expression shifted from confidence to bewilderment. Commander, I'm detecting anomalous readings. The fear centers of his brain are inactive. Impossible. Every sentient species we've encountered has functional fear responses, the holographic projectors whirred to life, filling the chamber with images pulled from the deepest recesses of Marcus's mind. The crew watched in fascination as scenarios of death, abandonment, and failure materialized around the human. Marcus opened his eyes for the first time in hours, surveying the illusions with what appeared to be mild interest. A small smile played at the corners of his mouth. Interesting technology, he said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's audio systems. Though I have to say, your definition of scary is pretty tame. Zethkar leaned forward, speaking directly into the communication array. You will tell us the location of the remaining human settlements, or the projections will intensify. Marcus stood slowly, stretching muscles that had remained perfectly relaxed throughout his captivity. You really don't understand, do you? The holographic terrors swirled around him, images of loved ones dying, of failure and humiliation, of pain and suffering that would have reduced any other species to a gibbering wreck. Marcus walked through them like a man strolling through a garden. You see? Marcus continued, his voice taking on an almost conversational tone. Humans don't fear death the way you do. We don't fear pain the way you do. You know why? The Zephyrian crew exchanged uncertain glances. Because we're already afraid of everything all the time. Marcus laughed, and the sound sent an involuntary shiver through every alien in the observation. We're afraid of spiders, of heights, of social rejection, of running out of coffee. We're afraid of our own shadows, literally and figuratively. He gestured to the swirling nightmares around him. But here's the thing you never bothered to learn about us. We do it anyway. Veltara's bioscanner began registering something new, fear, but not from the human. We climb mountains that can kill us for fun, Marcus continued, his smile widening. We jump out of perfectly functional aircraft for entertainment. We sail across oceans in tiny boats, explore caves that could collapse at any moment, and voluntarily inject ourselves with weakened diseases to build immunity. The fear readings on Veltara's scanner spiked higher. We tell stories to our children about monsters under the bed, then sleep peacefully knowing those monsters might be real. We make friends with apex predators and call them pets. We eat foods that can literally kill us and call it cuisine. Commander Zethkar found his breathing becoming labored. Around the observation deck, crew members were backing away from the monitors. "Fear isn't your weapon against us," Marcus said, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more weight than any shout. "Fear is our constant companion. It's what we wake up with and what we fall asleep with. And we've learned to dance with it, to make it our partner instead of our master." The holographic projectors began to stutter and fail as Marcus reached the center of the chamber. "You want to know what humans really fear?" His eyes locked onto the camera, seeming to stare directly at each observer. "We fear a universe where there's nothing left to be afraid of, because that would mean there's nothing left to overcome." The projectors died completely. In the sudden silence, Marcus sat back down and closed his eyes. "Now," he said peacefully, "when you're ready to discuss the terms of my release and the immediate withdrawal of your forces from human space, I'll be here. I've got nowhere else to be, and honestly, this is the most relaxed I've been in months." The UR bioscanner in Veltara's hands was now screaming with alarm readings, not from the human, but from every Zephyrian on the ship. They had learned what real fear was, the terrible understanding that somewhere in the galaxy, an entire species had looked into the abyss and decided to set up camp there. Within the hour, Commander Zethkar was composing a message to the Galactic Council, recommending immediate diplomatic negotiations with the humans. Some prisoners, he realized, were more dangerous free than contained.